Here we go.
Really?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Black and Orange channel. Look at this wonderful woman I've got right here. Look at the fantastic, beautiful sweetheart that Sheila is.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank
thank
you.
you for being here. Uh, in about 5 minutes, they're going to start in with the last bit of the the rest of the arguments for the defense, or rather for the impeachment. They're going to go
The trial,
the trial.
impeachment
Yeah,
trial. Yeah.
yeah. They're going to go through a couple more hours of I think a couple more hours. It may not be that much. I don't know, but there'll be more testimony and stuff coming up. So we're going to kind of turn it into it's not a party watch party, quote unquote, very big quotes. We're going to watch it together when that comes back on. But we'll also do some readings. Oh, there's Cat Shepherd and Jazzy Girl. Hello. So, but it's a very hello, Kathy Anderson and Christina and Rhonda. Rhonda's saying this is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I
Oh,
understand.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Sheila and I were just talking. I was saying that for those of you, I imagine you've been watching it too. And when they were showing the Capitol building and with the dots on it at certain times, um, it reminded me of there's a channel on YouTube that every April they run the sinking of the Titanic, and they have the models, the computer models all set up, and it's exactly what time the iceberg hit and what time that people were moving here and people were moving there, and this is when this lifeboat was lowered and this was opened and then this one and then they went over here and they do it in real time, and it's unbelievably moving. But I was watching what they were talking about with the people breaking in, and I felt like I was watching that again. And Sheila was kind enough to say that she watches that too, and you actually
Oh, I think it was either in Las Vegas and when we were in Baltimore, they had a display on it, and I saw the portion of the Titanic that they had brought in for. I forget what it's called, but the display, and I was actually able to see that, and the metal was like this. It was thick. It was really, really thick from the thing. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like that play by play, minute by minute of that, and how impactful. It's incredible the hours that went by.
yeah.
Whew.
So watching today, these people were breaking in, they were saying this, they were doing that. It was incredibly moving. So whew, yeah, I'm just waiting. I've got C-SPAN off to the side. I'm going to add it in as soon as they go back to covering the trial. But I definitely wanted to come on today. As most of you know, I usually come on at 12 noon every day, but I put things off today after asking you guys about it to 7. I was gonna wait until 7 and when everything was probably done. But it's just been so moving and so upsetting for so many people that I invited Sheila and a few others, if they were interested, then maybe they'll drop by, maybe they won't. But to come by so that we can, know you're not alone. You're not the only one this is affecting. Um, we're in this together, and we're going to get through it. And I think that's really important right now to be so aware of we're not alone.
I agree. It's a. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like knowing. I feel for the police officers, and everybody knows why. That I feel for them, their families. I can't imagine being a wife of one of those police officers and knowing that it was just inches away from death. and watching their husband, or wife or whatever, being in so much danger. Or children knowing that a president of the United States almost called for their life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not where we should be in this world.
No. I mean, it's one thing like in Wisconsin one time, a tornado went by. I was driving and I had to pull over, and there was a tornado like right there.
Wow.
The sky went bottle green,
Yeah.
and it's so loud, and the rain is pounding, and the whole thing, and you cannot see anything from the
Right.
rain, and that's one thing where you come close to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's an act of God. That's not
A person.
it's not a person, and it's not the leader.
Yes.
It's not the leader who we're supposed to be able to trust.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, I was talking to somebody too. I was like, where, the Trumpsters are trying to explain it away too. Like, he was still having his riot when they were going into the Capitol building. And I said, oh, so the man who is in charge of the Capitol building
Mhm.
and is affiliated with the governor, the people that are in that building, was not alerted. He didn't know what was happening. Nobody told him.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
Uh-huh.
really? You're trying to tell me that he wouldn't have protected us anyway if these people were doing it without him knowing it?
Right.
Nobody's going to say, hey, President, you know what? We have a riot over here. Nobody's going to tell him that. They're
Right.
trying to separate him and make him look so innocent. And I'm like, you can't do it.
Right.
Oh, doggies.
No. So, Kat, are we missing it? Or hang on, let me double check. No, they're not ready yet. So they're just running. They're just talking about.
I can hear the background of this. Can the people in the chat hear the background of it too? I was just curious.
Maybe.
Oh, doggies.
But I've got it. Sure, but I've got it low.
That's Trump's nickname for the Speaker of the House.
Rosetta is saying hello. How can they not convict Trump? I know. Yep. People are just talking in the chat about. Oh, you can hear. Okay, they can hear. They can hear a little bit. But
takeover of the Capitol building.
I had it. All right, there. I'll put that like that for now. But we'll go to that in just a second. Jazzy Girl, we can hear it, but it's not drowning you out. Okay.
Okay. I was just wondering. I mean, I didn't mind listening to it at all.
Yeah. I'm actually just gonna keep it low just so we don't miss anything.
Yeah, you could probably put it up on the screen, which is something.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah.
It's so distressing. Man. And them calling for her and calling for them, and unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. This woman is all of them, every single one of them, but she really hammers it in. She's very clear. She's very concise.
She's phenomenal.
Yep. I think they're probably going to go and start with the timeline of then Trump. Because they've done the and what's going on in the Capitol building, how they were getting in, how close these people were. And I think probably the next section is going to be, 45 and how he was acting and what was going on, where he was at and how that affiliated with that.
Yeah. And, when he was watching things and when he was, what was he doing? And the answer is dancing in glee.
4 hours. Did I hear that
hours,
right?
Hours and hours.
Hours before
I know it was. Well, certainly the one part they were talking about was that the people, from the time the people broke in, 2.5 hours later, the police were still trying to fight them off in a different part of the building, and we're still not getting help.
Yeah, yeah. It took four. If I believe, and if I hear them right, it took 4 hours for them to get help there, and they were the people, the National Guard that was in Baltimore, because there's a base there, a military base there. They were
Mhm.
waiting for them. It takes them 45 minutes, less than 45 minutes when they're rushing to get to the Capitol building. From there, and he was just waiting, he was just waiting for you have to have permission. It's just like Begonzi all over again, waiting for that permission to go help these people. And
Right.
that, it was the exact same scenario. It's like, hey, we're just waiting for the go, we can't do anything, I can't send these people without top level permission.
Right. Man.
Yeah.
And I'm just, yeah, Rhonda has a good point. What's going on in Trump's lawyers' minds right now?
If I was a lawyer, I'd get up there and say, I surrender.
Yeah.
I'm too much of an American to sit here and try to dispute that. But who knows what kind of soul they have? That's what I would do.
And Trump lost his other lawyers because he was insisting that they go in and argue against all of this, that, well, Trump actually won the election.
Yeah, he had every right to send a mob to the Capitol because they stole it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I get it. If you hear the anger, it's because I am.
Oh yeah, Kathy Anderson saying Trump's lawyers are they prosecuting or defending him? They were so bad. I'm trying to find the humor. I'm trying so hard.
I know. His
find
lawyer yesterday was so incoherent. I mean,
Which one? They were both.
Yeah, he kept on repeating over and over and over. This other guy, it was almost like he was on what is that? Where you loop?
Mhm.
He was on a loop. Like he would say it and then he would say it all again and then he would say it all again and then he would say, that was all he had.
Yep.
Twitter says that Trump ban is permanent, even if he runs for president again.
Yeah.
They're talking about Twitter is banned, so he will never be able to get on Twitter.
Oh, thank heavens.
Yeah, it's been peaceful.
Thank you, Kristen. It has, hasn't it?
Yes.
But, and he has been strangely quiet. I mean, he could talk to lawyers. He could call into Fox News. He could be doing various things, but he's just not.
Well, Fox News pulled away when they started talking about the riots and showing that. You know what they pulled away to? That lawyer, the Jeannie or Ginny or whatever, and they started talking about how Trump, 2 weeks into his presidency, he's already failed this to get the schools open. This is what they're talking on Fox instead of covering this.
Today.
They're
saying bad things about Trump?
No. They're saying bad things about Biden. I'm so sorry. Did I say the wrong thing? Biden. How Biden has failed to open up this. That's what they're doing on Fox News instead of, they pulled away from covering this because they don't want to show it.
Yeah.
They are just shameless people.
Yeah. Well, I've got family members who, even my wider family, who are Trump supporters, which just
I got them too.
Today they are saying that this entire proceeding is illegal, and they're not going to watch it. They're not going to watch any of it, and it's like, okay, I'm so not surprised.
They cannot deviate from their belief system.
True.
It is painful for them to think outside of that belief system.
Yep.
Exactly. And to admit that they are wrong. I have some too. I have family members. I have a brother who on Facebook on a regular basis will, unfriend me because I say something. And then he'll, like 2 weeks later, he'll friend me again. He's like,
jeez.
I wouldn't have known that, Sheila, if not for you. Are you talking about what they were doing on Fox, or I didn't see that?
Yeah, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
about the vote they
I didn't. I actually, that was hearsay through that Brian Taylor Cohen, who does he's been doing the live streams, and I've been watching him, and he was the one that was talking about what they were doing on
Oh.
Fox News while we were doing that.
Oh, okay.
So I've been live streaming with Brian Cohen and watching it through him. But on his channel, he can't show, I guess, a lot of the footage. I don't know why, but
yeah. C-SPAN's there for everybody.
yep.
Hopefully this time won't have the last time I used C-SPAN, there was some weird copyright infringement thing that went out to me and apparently a lot of other different people from from a Japanese puppet show who were just trying to bring some kind of copyright claim, and I'm like, it's C-SPAN. It was a mistake, and it, by the end of the day they retracted it, but apparently something had happened and they had just blanketed a lot of YouTube apparently with a Japanese puppet show. Really, I had to highlight the Japanese text and go get it translated and then go look it up to figure out who that was, and it was like, really? Anyway, but oh, Mary Jo is saying that I follow Seth Abramson on Twitter. Yeah, I imagine he's got a lot to say today.
Yeah.
He's done some really good stuff, especially about that January 5th meeting in the Trump Hotel the night before, January 5th.
Now, January 5th, was that a Friday? Because I did a reading that something was happening again on that Friday. Was that a Friday?
It was a Tuesday night, and then Wednesday was this January 6th when the riot happened. But
okay, I see. It was January 2nd where I got something in my cards, and that's where he made that phone call. So okay, so I was confused.
No, you're great.
Yeah, it was that. Remember when we were in that live stream with you, and I was telling you that my cards were picking up something really bad on January 2nd. Remember, and I kind of asked you to do a reading on it, and it was just really weird. And it was before that phone call, and then we found out it was that phone call that was recorded, him trying to, call down to Georgia and steal the election. So,
whew, man. So what they're talking about here on C-SPAN is they're pulling news from CBS and what have you, and talking about how some of this footage has been getting to some of the Republicans, but we'll have to see.
So are they tweeting?
But Rick Scott, after seeing the brutal video, said this is a complete waste of time because he's Rick Scott. Apparently, Hawley, that jerk, has been Oh, here we go. He's been up in the balcony with his feet up, reading, paying no attention. All right, here we go, guys. Hang in there. Keep breathing.
Against the violence or do anything to stop it. Mr. Cislini.
I'm going to mute us, Sheila.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just as they muted. Keep breathing, guys. It'll be okay.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, you just heard from my colleagues about the harrowing events that happened here at the Capitol on January 6th and saw that very disturbing video. I'd now like to turn your attention to what was happening on the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue at the White House. And the truth is, the facts are that on January 6th, Donald Trump did not once condemn this attack. He did not once condemn the attackers. In fact, on January 6th, the only person he condemned was his own vice president, Mike Pence, who was hiding in this building with his family in fear for his life. In the first crucial hours of this violent attack, he did nothing to stop it, nothing to help us. By all accounts, from the people that were around him, he was delighted. And here's the last thing Donald Trump said that day. And you might remember this from my motions presentation earlier in the week. At 6 p.m. on January 6th, after all the destruction that you just saw, the Capitol Police and the National Guard fighting to secure this building, here's what Donald Trump tweeted. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. He got what he incited, and according to Donald Trump, we got what we deserved. Donald Trump's incitement of this insurrection, including his dereliction of his duty as commander-in-chief to defend the Capitol and the people in it, his complete refusal to condemn the attack while it was going on, and his continued incitement of the violence during the attack require impeachment. Now let's turn to then President Trump's conduct that day. I want to start at the beginning when he addressed his thousands of great patriots, as he called them that morning. Around noon, Donald Trump began speaking at his rally just down Pennsylvania Avenue. Even before Donald Trump finished speaking, his supporters began to walk down toward the Capitol, and they were already starting to chant, "Stop the steal, storm the Capitol, invade the Capitol, fight for Trump." And by 12:53 p.m., they had violently forced their way through the barricades here at the Capitol. Now, about 1 o'clock that day, with this chaos just starting, Speaker Pelosi, as the Constitution requires, formally commenced the process by which this chamber certifies the election results. Within 10 minutes, at 1:11 p.m., as if almost on cue, Donald Trump concluded his speech with his final reminder to the thousands gathered there that it was time to go to the Capitol. Let's watch.
And we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try and give, but we're going to try and give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you all for being here. This is incredible. Thank you very much.
Now, you've seen what happened when these supporters, following his orders, arrived here at the Capitol. But I want to look at what happened next. Now, you'll recall during the speech, President Trump said, "We're going to the Capitol," sort of suggesting that he was going to go with this crowd. Of course, that was not true. But let's hear what he said.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down. We're going to walk down anyone you want, but I think right here, we're going to walk down to the Capitol.
This, of course, was not true. He did not go with him to the Capitol. He left and went back to the White House. And while he was en route to the White House, violence really began to grow here at the Capitol. And within minutes of Donald Trump's speech ending, there were significant reports of escalating violence that began to surface. Buildings around the Capitol were starting to be evacuated. And by 1:15, an explosive device had been found at the DNC. A pipe bomb had been found at the RNC about 15 minutes earlier. The House Sergeant at Arms had called for immediate assistance. At 1:34 p.m., the mayor of Washington, D.C., called for additional National Guard troops. I won't go through all of the details of the violence that unfolded here. You just saw that. But as we walk through what our commander-in-chief did that day, I want to be very clear about exactly what was happening here at the same time. For 40 minutes, while buildings were being cleared, pipe bombs were being found, his supporters were literally breaching the perimeter of the Capitol and overwhelming law enforcement. And you saw the violence that was occurring. We heard nothing from the President of the United States. We didn't hear anything from Donald Trump until 1:49 p.m., when while all of this is unfolding, President Trump sent out a tweet. This was the first thing he did when he learned the United States Capitol, with all the members of Congress, his own vice president, was under violent attack. And what was that tweet? Nearly an hour after the rioters breached the Capitol perimeter, at 1:49, Donald Trump released a propaganda reel of his Save America speech that he'd given an hour before. I want to be clear. The events I just described, the rioters are breaching the Capitol, attacking law enforcement. The violence is being broadcast all over the television for the whole world to see, including the President of the United States. And I want to show you, this is what is happening right before Donald Trump sends that video out again, and as he does it.
Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about. And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Even if President Trump claims he didn't know the extent of the violence that would follow his speech, it was now happening in plain view, broadcast on television. His supporters were attacking law enforcement. The mayor and the police chief were calling for help. Members of Congress and the vice president were inside, scared for their lives. And he doesn't send help, doesn't try to stop it, doesn't even acknowledge the attack. Instead, our commander-in-chief tweeted the video of the speech that he'd given before that included language like, "Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore. And that's what this is all about. You have to be strong." Those around Donald Trump, as was later reported, were disgusted. His close aides, his advisors, those working for him, former officials, even his family were begging him to do something. Kellyanne Conway, the president's close advisor, called to, quote, add her name to the chorus of aides urging Donald Trump to take action. Ivanka Trump, the president's own daughter, went to the Oval Office as soon as the rioting escalated and was, as confirmed by Senator Graham, quote, trying to get Trump to speak out, to tell everyone to leave, end quote. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy called Jared Kushner, pleading with him to persuade Trump to issue a statement or to do something. And Kushner, too, went down to the White House after that call. And it wasn't just the people at the White House. Members of Congress from both parties who were trapped here were calling the White House to ask for help. Some members even appealed directly to Donald Trump. These members who had, quote, been loyal Trump supporters and were even willing to vote against the Electoral College results were now scared for their lives. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy repeatedly even got into a screaming match as the attack was underway, demanding that Trump do something, issue a statement denouncing the mob. I imagine many of you sitting here today picked up your phone and tried to reach somebody at the White House to ask for help. This wasn't partisan politics. These were Americans from all sides trying to force our commander-in-chief to protect and defend our country. He was required to do that. Now, the extent of how many people tried to reach the president to get him to act is not known. But what is clear, what we know without any doubt, is that from the very beginning, the people around Donald Trump lobbied him to take command. What's also clear is what Donald Trump, our commander-in-chief, did in those initial hours to protect us. Nothing. Not a thing. He knew it was happening. The attack was on TV. We all know that President Trump had the power to stop these attacks. He was our commander-in-chief. He had the power to assess the security situation, send backup, send help. He also had incited this violent attack. They were listening to him. He could have commanded them to leave. But he didn't. The first critical hour and a half of this bloody attack, Donald Trump tweeted his rally speech and did nothing else. And we know why. We know his state of mind that prompted his utter, complete refusal to defend us. It was reported by those around him. The president, as reported by sources at the time, was delighted. As he watched the violence unfold on television, President Trump was reportedly, and I quote, borderline enthusiastic because it meant the certification was being derailed, end quote. Senator Ben Sasse relayed a conversation with senior White House officials that President Trump was, quote, walking around the White House, confused about why other people on his team weren't as excited as he was, end quote. Trump's reaction to this attack reportedly genuinely freaked people out. I understand why. We just suffered a very serious attack on our country. And we saw it, and the people around him knew it. But when Donald Trump saw it, he was delighted. Now, what President Trump did next confirms why he was so delighted, why he wanted this. Because it shows that his singular focus that day, the day we were attacked, was not protecting us, was not protecting you, was not protecting the Capitol. It was stopping the certification of the election results. The evidence is clear. Shortly after 2 p.m., as the siege was fully underway, then President Trump made a call. This is the first call that we are aware he made to anyone inside the Capitol during the attack. Didn't call the vice president to ask how he could help defend the Capitol. Didn't call the next two in line to succession of the presidency to check on their safety or well-being. Instead, he attempted to call Senator Tuberville. He dialed Senator Lee by accident. Senator Lee describes it. He had just ended a prayer with his colleagues here in the Senate chamber, and the phone rang. It was Donald Trump. And how Senator Lee explains is that the phone call goes something like this. Hey, Tommy, Trump asks, and Senator Lee says, this isn't Tommy, and he hands the phone to Senator Tuberville. Senator Lee then confirmed that he stood by as Senator Tuberville and President Trump spoke on the phone. And on that call, Donald Trump reportedly asked Senator Tuberville to make additional objections to the certification process. That's why he called. Now, let's be clear, at roughly 2 p.m., when Donald Trump was walking around the White House, watching the TV delighted, and spent 5 to 10 minutes talking to Senator Tuberville, urging him to delay the election results, this is what was happening in the Capitol.
We'll pause.
Protesters are in the building.
Thank you.
You saw Senator Langford stop speaking and leave the floor quickly in that clip because the insurgents had broken through the barricades and had entered the building. And as these armed insurrectionists banged on the doors, members of Congress were told to put on their gas masks, to put bags over their heads for safety and prepare to evacuate. And Donald Trump was calling to ask a senator to delay the certification process. Let that sink in. Donald Trump didn't get to finish that call. It was cut off because the senators had to move to another location for your security. And thank God they did, because as the call was occurring, the rioters got closer to the Senate chambers. And as we all know now, but for the heroism of Capitol Police Officer Eugene Goodman and other law enforcement officers who took them in a different direction to the police line, they very likely would have gotten here. Think about that. Armed insurrectionists, guns, weapons, zip ties, brass knuckles, they were coming for us. They were inside the United States Capitol, trying to stop the certification process. The police were outnumbered, and but for the grace of God, they would have gotten us, all of us. And our commander-in-chief makes a call about an hour after the siege began, not to preserve, protect, and defend you and our country and the Capitol, but to join forces with the mob and pressure a senator to stop certification. We just can't get numb to this kind of behavior. There can be no doubt as to the purpose of Donald Trump's call, that he was not calling to assess the security threats or to check on the well-being of you or anyone else. Indeed, later on that evening, while all of the destruction and damage still continued, dozens of officers were being treated for serious injuries. Deaths were confirmed. About 7 p.m., the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, made a call. And just in case you don't think there was some coordination, he also called Senator Lee's phone trying to reach Senator Tuberville. We don't have to guess as to what Rudy Giuliani said in that voicemail because we have it recorded. So let's listen to what the president's personal lawyer said on the night of this attack.
Senator Tuberville, or I should say Coach Tuberville, this is Rudy Giuliani, president's lawyer. I'm calling you because I want to discuss with you how they're trying to rush this hearing and how we need you, our Republican friends, to try to just slow it down.
This was the singular focus of Donald Trump during this bloody, violent attack on the Capitol, stopping the certification. Look, as I mentioned, I was a trial lawyer for 16 years. Sometimes you have to ask a jury to use reasonable inferences to piece together a defendant's state of mind. We don't have to do this here. While our country was violently attacked by an armed mob, President Trump not only refused to stop the attack or even address the attack at all, he made clear his focus was the same goal of the attackers he had incited: to stop the certification process and prevent the peaceful transition of power. The only action we know that he took an hour into this attack was to call Senator Tuberville to ask him to delay the certification. This is as clear evidence as I have ever seen of what Donald Trump really cared about that day. Now look, the certification process, as we all know, includes debate and objections. Some of us disagreed, but we came here on January 6th to formally administer the certification process pursuant to our constitutional duties. And at the end of it, Congress certified the results to ensure that we continue to be a country with leaders who are elected by the people for the people. Donald Trump's objection to the certification are not on trial. But what is on trial is while we were under armed attack and being evacuated, while our law enforcement officers were fighting for their lives, our commander-in-chief was calling not to determine how to best secure the building and the people in it, but to continue to pressure senators to stop the certification process and the peaceful transfer of power. Just as he incited the mob to do earlier in the day. This was a breathtaking dereliction of his duty and of his violation of his oath as our commander-in-chief. Senators, before I hand this over to Manager Castro to walk through the rest of the day, please let me make one final point. These attackers stood right where you are. They went on that rostrum. They rifled through your desks and they desecrated this place. And literally, the president sat delighted, doing nothing to help us, calling one of you to pressure you to stop the certification. It can't be that the commander-in-chief can incite a lawless, bloody insurrection and then utterly fail in his duty as commander-in-chief to defend us from the attack, to defend our law enforcement officers from that attack, and just get away with it. Donald Trump abdicated his duty to us all. We have to make this right, and you can make it right.
I thought that was really powerful. I just wanted to mention how I thought that was really powerful what he just said and how he displayed that.
Absolutely.
So.
My fellow manager, David Cicilline, showed you what President Trump did and did not do in those first critical hours of the attack. He sent a tweet at 1:49 p.m. where he reposted a video of the speech that incited the attack. And he called a senator to ask him to delay the certification as the senator was being evacuated for his own safety. We left off around 2:15 p.m. At this point, insurgents were inside the Senate and the House, and the Senate had been evacuated for everyone's safety. And as you saw, Vice President Mike Pence and his family even had to be evacuated for their safety. Now, you'll recall, Donald Trump had made Vice President Pence a target. He attacked the vice president at the rallies, in speeches, and on Twitter. And during President Trump's speech that morning of the attack, he ramped it up again after privately pressuring Mike Pence in front of thousands in the crowd. He called Mike Pence out 11 times, including saying, quote, "Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of your country. And if you're not, I'm going to be disappointed in you. I will tell you right now." And this was the crowd's response to Donald Trump's days of relentless attacks on his own vice president. By 2:15 p.m., the crowd was chanting in unison, "Hang Mike Pence," outside the very building he'd been evacuated from with his family. Now, even if President Trump didn't know that his inflammatory remarks about his vice president would result in chants of "Hang Mike Pence," by 2:15 p.m., he surely knew. The attack was all over television. They were doing this out in the open. This was a vice president whose life, whose family's life, was being threatened by people whom the president had summoned to the Capitol. And what did President Trump do in response? Did he stop? Did he tell his base, no, don't attack my vice president? Even when President Trump knew what his words were causing, he didn't do any of those things to stop the crowd. In fact, he did the opposite. He fueled the fire. At 2:24 p.m., he tweeted, quote, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution. USA demands the truth. Over an hour and a half into the attack, and this is what he tweeted. And he still, even at this point, did not acknowledge the attack on the Capitol, let alone condemn it. Instead, he further incites the mob against his own vice president, whose life was being threatened. Well, some of you may say, well, who was paying attention anyway? Well, that mob was paying attention.
Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones which they were asked to previously certify. U.S. demands the truth.
Mike Pence is a bitch! Mike Pence is a bitch!
Can I speak to Pelosi? Yeah, we're coming, bitch! Oh, Mike Pence, we're coming for you too, fucking traitor!
Donald J. Trump sent a tweet out saying that Mike Pence let us down. Mike Pence let us down, people. If you want to get something done, you're going to have to do what you said.
The insurgents
That's chilling.
amplified President Trump's tweet attacking the vice president with a bullhorn. They were paying attention. And they also followed instructions. In fact, the insurgents were at one point, as you saw, 60 feet away from the vice president and the vice president's family. Some of these insurgents were heard saying, quote, that they hope to find Vice President Mike Pence and execute him by hanging him from a Capitol Hill tree as a traitor. And then they erected a gallows with a noose. This is what Donald Trump incited. Please take a close look at that picture. It harkens back to our nation's worst history of lynching. A president's words have the power to move people to action. These were the results. And why did the president incite such rage against the vice president? He was fulfilling his constitutional duty, as we all were that day. Vice presidents in this country have been carrying out this constitutional duty, overseeing the certification of the election results without incident, without contest, without a word, for the entirety of our nation. It's part of our peaceful transition of power in the United States. And the vice president said he reviewed the Constitution and he could not block certification as President Trump wanted him and was pressuring him to do. He told the president in a letter that morning, a few hours before President Trump's tweet, quote, I will approach this moment with a sense of duty and an open mind, setting politics and personal interests aside, and do my part to faithfully discharge my duties, our duties, under the Constitution. I also pray that we will do so with humility and faith. And the president's response to that statement was to attack Mike Pence while he was with his family under the threat of a violent mob. The vice president was following his faith, his duty, and his oath to our nation. And the vice president and I don't agree on too much in politics, but he's a man who upholds his oath, his faith, his duty, and most of all, upholds the Constitution. And Mike Pence is not a traitor to this country. He's a patriot. And he and his family, who was with him that day, didn't deserve this. Didn't deserve a president unleashing a mob on them, especially because he was just doing his job. As this was unfolding and the crowd grew more violent, the president, of course, was not alone at the White House. And the people closest to him, his family and advisors who saw this unfolding in real time, begged him, implored him to stop the attack. An aide to Mark Meadows, the president's chief of staff, urged his boss to go see the president, saying, quote, "They are going to kill people. They're going to kill people." That's what those around President Trump feared. And still, nothing. It wasn't until 2:38 p.m., nearly 2 hours after the start of the siege, that Donald Trump even acknowledged the attack. And when he finally did acknowledge the attack, here's what he said. On the right, you'll see what had been happening prior to that tweet and as he sent the tweet. And on the left, you'll see exactly what he tweeted.
I'm going to stop you there for just one moment because we do have some breaking news. We want to bring in congressional correspondent Chad Pergram as this is just all developing right now. Chad, I understand the Capitol is now on lockdown.
They're definitely fired up. The chant, by the way, I heard the most today was "Fight for Trump," and that's clearly what many of them feel they're doing here.
That's what our president saw unfolding in real time, broadcast all over television. And this is what he tweeted at 2:38 p.m. Quote, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They're truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." And much has been made of the fact that in this tweet, he says, "Stay peaceful." Senators, stay peaceful? Think about that for a second. These folks were not peaceful. They were breaking windows, pushing through law enforcement officers, waving the flag as they invaded this Capitol building. This was a violent, armed attack. Stay peaceful? How about stop the attack? Stop the violence. Stay peaceful? How about you say, immediately leave? Stop. And he said, please support our law enforcement. How about he actually support our law enforcement by telling these insurgents to leave the Capitol immediately, which he never did. He didn't. Because the truth is, he didn't want it to stop. He wanted them to stay and to stop the certification. And his failure had grave and deadly consequences. By 2:45 p.m., the warnings were tragically proven correct. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an officer as she tried to break through a glass door to reach the Speaker's lobby. At this point, the pleas to Donald Trump, publicly and privately, grew even more desperate. At 2:54 p.m., Alyssa Farah, a former strategic communications director, begged the president, quote, "Condemn this now. You're the only one they will listen to for our country." Mick Mulvaney, the president's former chief of staff, his right-hand man at one point, tweeted at 3:01, "The president's tweet is not enough. He can stop this now and needs to do exactly that. Tell these folks to go home." He can stop this now. Tell these folks to go home. At 3:06 p.m., Rep. McCarthy appeared on Fox News. Here's what he said.
I could not be sadder or more disappointed with the way our country looks at this very moment. People are getting hurt. Anyone involved in this, if you're hearing me, hear me very loud and clear. This is not the American way.
He's saying on Fox News, which the president watches, this is not the American way. Stop the attack. Representative Gallagher at 3:11 p.m., while secured in his own office, posted a video to Twitter.
Mr. President, you have got to stop this. You are the only person who can call this off. Call it off.
And then, when the president didn't answer his pleas on Twitter, Representative Gallagher went on live television.
I mean, this is insane. I mean, I've not seen anything like this since I deployed to Iraq in 2007 and 2008. I mean, this is America, and this is what's happening right now. The president needs to call it off. Like, call it off. Call it off.
Representative Gallagher, you see there, said he'd not seen anything like this since he was deployed in Iraq. The message around the president was clear from everyone. You need to call this off. Stop it. But does he? No. His next tweet was not until about 3:13 p.m. Once again, it's important to consider what was happening between Donald Trump's 2:38 p.m. tweet and his next tweet at 3:13 p.m. You'll see footage from the attack during that time on the right and Donald Trump's tweet on the left.
We've been informed that protesters have penetrated the Capitol.
This is my fucking building. Hey! Hey, we got a fucking attitude problem over here.
I tell you, the sentiment in the streets is really getting to a different level. This is spinning out of control. This is turning violent. This is getting dangerous.
You're America. Get that one idea. Don't touch me, don't. Get the fuck out
This isn't 10 minutes into the insurrection. This isn't just after his speech earlier that day. That's what our commander-in-chief saw happening, and that was his response. You'll notice one of the things he says to his mob, to these insurrectionists, rather than to stop or to leave, was to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you for what? Thank you for shattering the windows and destroying property. Thank you for injuring more than 140 police officers. Thank you for putting in danger all of our lives and the lives of our families. How about instead of thank you, Donald Trump on that day acted like our commander-in-chief and stopped this as only he could and told those people to leave. And here's what former Governor Chris Christie, his very good friend, said after that tweet.
Pretty simple. The president caused this protest to occur. He's the only one who can make it stop. What the president said is not good enough. The president has to come out and tell his supporters to leave the Capitol grounds and to allow the Congress to do their business peacefully. And anything short of that is an abrogation of his responsibility.
He's right. Chris Christie is right. We know how Donald Trump acts on Twitter and otherwise when he has a message to convey. In fact, I asked you to remember those tweets earlier this morning when he yelled on Twitter, "Stop the count." When he wanted to incite his supporters to show up on January 6th, President Trump tweeted 16 times between midnight on January 5th and his noon rally speech the next day. 16 times to get them to do something he wanted. And his message in those 16 times was clear. Fight, stay strong, be strong. But when the violence started, he never once said the one thing everyone around him was begging him to say. Stop the attack. He refused to stop it. And as Governor Christie and Representative Kinzinger and others made clear, only Donald Trump could have stopped that attack.
You know, a guy that knows how to tweet very aggressively on Twitter, you know, puts out one of the weakest statements in one of the saddest days in American history because his ego won't let him, you know, admit defeat.
He was not just our commander-in-chief, he had incited the attack. The insurgents were following his commands. And we saw when they read aloud this tweet, attacking the vice president. And they confirmed this during the attack too.
We're outnumbered. There's a fucking million of us out there, and we are listening to Trump's boss.
Senators, ask yourself this. How easy would it have been for the president to give a simple command, a simple instruction, just telling them, stop, leave? This was a dereliction of duty, plain and simple. And it would have been for any president who had done that. And that brings me to my next point. You heard from my colleagues that when planning this attack, the insurgents predicted that Donald Trump would command the National Guard to help them. And there's a lot that we don't know yet about what happened that day. But here's what we do know. Donald Trump did not send help to these officers who were badly outnumbered, overwhelmed, and being beaten down. 2 hours into the insurrection, by 3 p.m., President Trump had not deployed the National Guard or any other law enforcement to help, despite multiple pleas to do so. President Donald Trump was at the time our Commander-in-Chief of the United States of America. He took a solemn oath to preserve, protect, and defend this country. And he failed to uphold that oath. In fact, there's no indication that President Trump ever made a call to have the Guard deployed or had anything to do with the Guard being deployed when it ultimately was. And shortly after 3:04 p.m., the acting defense secretary announced that the Guard had been activated and listed the people he spoke with prior to this activation, including Vice President Mike Pence, Speaker Pelosi, Leader McConnell, Senator Schumer, and Representative Hoyer. But that list did not include the president. This omission of his name was reportedly not accidental. According to reports, quote, Trump initially rebuffed requests to mobilize the National Guard and required interference by other officials, including his own White House counsel. And later, quote, as a mob of Trump supporters breached police barricades and seized the Capitol, Trump reportedly was, quote, disengaged in discussions with Pentagon leaders about deploying the National Guard to aid the overwhelmed U.S. Capitol Police. President Trump was reportedly, and I quote, completely, totally out of it. He made no attempt to reach the National Guard, and it was Vice President Pence, still under the threat for his life, who reportedly spoke to the Guard. President Trump's conduct confirms this too. At no point on January 6th did Donald Trump even reference the National Guard. The only thing that we heard connecting the president to the Guard was from his press secretary, who tweeted about the Guard being deployed at the president's direction over half an hour later at 3:36 p.m. And we have seen what Donald Trump does when he tries to take credit for something. And yet, even when the National Guard was finally deployed, he didn't even acknowledge it. In fact, he didn't say a word about the National Guard the entire day. Think about that. The bloodiest attack we've seen on our Capitol since 1812, and our president couldn't be bothered to even mention that help was on its way. These insurgents had been attacking our government for over 4 hours by that point. And we may have been the target, but it was the brave men and women who protect our Capitol who were out there combating thousands of armed insurgents in a fight for their lives. And that's who Donald Trump left entirely unprotected.
Hold on! Let's get there! I need some more. Let's go!
And this is hard to watch, but I think it's important we understand what the Capitol Police were facing, how severely they were outnumbered, while our commander-in-chief, whose job it was to protect and defend them, was just watching, doing nothing for hours, refusing to send help. If he wanted to protect these officers, if he cared about their safety, as he tweeted about, he would have told his supporters to leave. He would have sent help right away. And one brave officer was killed. Others took their lives after the attack. More than 140 police officers were injured, including cracked ribs, smashed spinal discs. One officer will lose an eye. Another was stabbed with a metal fence stake. They were completely and violently overwhelmed by a mob and needed help. And our commander-in-chief, President Trump, refused to send it. Senators, you've seen all the evidence so far, and this is clear. On January 6th, President Trump left everyone in this Capitol for dead. For the next hour after President Trump's 3 p.m. tweet, he still did nothing. Not until 4:17 p.m., over 3.5 hours after the violence started, did our president send a message finally asking the insurgents to go home. On the right, you'll see what happened that day in the hours leading up to his pre-recorded video. On the left, you'll see his message. Let's watch.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us. It was a landslide election, and everyone knows it, especially the other side. But you have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. We don't want anybody hurt. It's a very tough period of time. There's never been a time like this where such a thing happened, where they could take it away from all of us, from me, from you, from our country. This was a fraudulent election, but we can't play into the hands of these people. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace.
This is the first time our commander-in-chief spoke publicly at all since the attack began, over the 3.5 hours after it started. And these are the entirety of the words the president spoke out loud to the American people or to the attackers that entire day. Nowhere in that video, not once, did he say, I condemn this insurrection. I condemn what you did today. Nowhere did he say, I'm sending help immediately. Stop this. Here's what he said instead. I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen. Even after all the things we witnessed, even after all of that carnage, he goes out and tells the same big lie. The same big lie that enraged and incited the attack. He repeated this while the attack was ongoing and while we were still under threat. And here's what else he said. Go home in peace. We love you. You're very special. Senators, you were here. You saw this with your own eyes. You faced that danger. And when President Trump had an opportunity to confront them as the leader of us all, as our commander-in-chief, what did he tell them? We love you. You're very special. This was not a condemnation. This was a message of consolation, of support, of praise. And if there's any doubt that his supporters, these insurgents, took this as a message of support and praise, watch for yourselves.
Donald Trump asked everybody to go home. He just put out a tweet. It's a minute long. He asked everybody to go home.
Why do you think so?
Because, dude, we won the fucking day. We fucking won.
How did we win?
Well, we won by sending a message to the senators and the congressmen. We won by sending a message to Pence, okay? That if they don't do as their oath to do, if they don't uphold the Constitution, then we will remove them from office one way or another.
I suspect you recognize that man. You'll hear him say that we won the day. Who won the day? We know that at least 5 people lost their lives that day. The House and the Senate were in life-threatening danger, and so was the Vice President. And think of everyone else here as well. Who won on January 6th? That's not a win for America, but it is a win for Donald Trump unless we hold him accountable. Now, a little over an hour after that video, the brave members of law enforcement secured the Capitol, and we as a Congress got ready to continue certifying the results of our free and fair election. A half hour after that, President Trump issued another tweet in case there was any doubt as to whether he was happy with the people who did this, as to whether he had incited this. He commemorated what happened on January 6th. At 6:01 p.m. on January 6th, he tweeted, quote, "These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who've been badly and unfairly treated for so long." Ending with, "Remember this day forever." My colleague, Manager Cicilline, started with this tweet because this tweet shows exactly how Donald Trump felt about what happened on January 6th. These are the things that happened. He's saying this was foreseeable. He's saying, I told you this was going to happen if you certified the election for anyone else, and you got what you deserved for trying to take my power away. Great patriots, go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. He's saying to them, you did good. He's not regretful. He's not grieving. He's not sad. He's not angry about the attack. He's celebrating it. He's commemorating it. This is the entirety of what President Trump said to the public once the attack began. 5 tweets and a pre-recorded video. On the day of the most bloody insurrection we've faced in generations, our commander-in-chief, who's known for sending 108 tweets in a normal day, sent 5 tweets and a pre-recorded video. That is the entirety of President Trump's public statements from when the attack began until he went to bed on January 6th. That's all he did, despite all the people we know who begged him to preserve, protect, and defend. That was our commander-in-chief's response. He began the day with, quote, "Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore." And that's what this is all about. And he ended the attack letting us know that we got what he forewarned that morning. We will, of course, each of us, remember that day forever, but not in the way that President Trump intended. Not because of the actions of these violent, unpatriotic insurrectionists. I'll remember that day forever, because despite President Trump's vicious attempts throughout the day to encourage the siege and block the certification, he failed. At 8:06 p.m., the Senate gavelled into session, and the counting of the electoral votes continued. About an hour later, the House followed suit. And close to 4 a.m., after spending a significant part of the day evacuated or on the floor or hiding, this great body fulfilled the will of the people and certified the Electoral College vote. And I'm proud to be part of Congress. I'm proud that we ensured that the will of the American people finally prevailed on that day. And I'm proud that I and everyone in this room abided by our oath of office, even if the president didn't abide by his. And President Trump, too, took an oath as president. He swore on a Bible to preserve, protect, and defend. And who among us can honestly say they believe that he upheld that oath? And who among us will let his utter dereliction of duty stand?
Mr. President, the managers are prepared to recess for the evening and to finish our opening statement tomorrow.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader.
pursuant to Impeachment Rule 16, I make a motion. Statements were attributed to me moments ago by the House impeachment managers. Statements relating to the content of conversations between a phone call involving President Trump and Senator Tuberville were not made by me. They're not accurate, and they're contrary to fact. I move pursuant to Rule 16 that they be stricken from the record.
Pursuant to Senate Resolution 47, Section 4, parties' presentations are not limited to the record provided for in Section 1 of that resolution. Senator,
I appeal the ruling of the chair.
Couldn't hear what he said.
Mr. President, Mr. President, right here, we might as well hear clearly what the ruling of the chair was. So if you would repeat that.
Of course, I will. And pursuant to Senate Resolution 47, Section 4, the parties' presentations are not limited.
There you go. It's on now.
Pursuant to Senate Resolution 47, Section 4, parties' presentations are not limited to the record provided for in Section 1 of that resolution. The senator from Utah has appealed that ruling. Is that correct?
Yes, I have.
And the yeas and nays have been requested for sufficient.
And what is the question? Is it, shall the ruling of the chair be sustained? Is that the question?
Yes.
Whether the ruling of the chair with respect to
No.
And what, may I ask, is the ruling of the chair? My point was not about whether it's appropriate for them to make characterizations. My point was to strike them because they were false.
The question is whether the ruling of the chair that Senate Resolution 47 applies to this situation is correct.
The question is whether Senate Resolution 47, Section 4, is correct. The parties' presentations are not limited to the record provided for in Section 1 of that resolution.
Mr. President, that is not my motion. You've ruled on a motion. You've ruled on something that was not what I moved. What I asked was, statements were attributed to me repeatedly, as to which I have personal knowledge because I am the source. They are not true. I never made those statements. I asked that they be stricken. This has nothing to do with whether or not they're based on depositions, which they're not.
I've got that he's lying through his teeth.
It's simply based on the fact that I'm the witness.
Absolutely. He's just pissed off because he got caught in the crosshairs and somebody told what he was saying.
Good argument. Good partnership. Fighting for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. President.
No, who's talking? Joe, what is it?
The yeas and nays were asked for on an appeal.
Mr. President.
That this
He can't do this. He's just getting up there going, I didn't say that. But he can't do anything about what your testimony was.
Can you hit the mic button?
Come on.
There's trouble with the mic. I'm sorry. The yeas and nays have been asked.
Yeas and nays have been asked for.
The yeas and nays have been requested.
Let him explain. Please let him explain, Mr. President. Why is it false? What was not false? What was false about it?
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent to answer the senator's question.
Debate is not in order under Senate Resolution 47, Section 4. Parties' presentation not limited to the record provided for in Section 1 of that resolution. And that has been appealed. The yeas and nays have been requested. The clerk will call the roll.
Yeah, I got the 9 of cups and the page of swords, deceitful person and a spy.
Mr. Barrasso.
Sorry, I wanted to turn that down. Say again?
I said I got the 9 of cups and he's wishing for some wishes fulfilled that they would strike that, but it's a deceitful person and a spy. So what he's trying to say, but the fairness, he's asking for, that it's going to be a lie, but we're going to win it. Because the 2 of swords balancing the forces.
Objection, clerk call the roll.
Justice.
Yep, I got justice too.
I got Trump. He's in trouble.
Very much.
Democrats, Talk about winning the day.
Mr. Barrasso.
So what he's saying is he wants because they said something in their deposition about what he said. Mr. Lee said he's all like, no, that's not what I said.
My understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but my understanding is Trump was trying to call Tuberville, but he accidentally called Lee.
Yeah.
And so Lee was like, this isn't Tommy, and handed the phone over.
Yeah. So what did Lee say that he's trying to...
All he's saying was, you handed a phone over. That's it. That's it. And now he's saying, I didn't say that. And he's trying to cause a big stink about it.
Yeah.
And so the House managers are saying, what's false about it? But he's not answering. What's false about it? So go on the record. So you didn't get that phone call?
Yeah.
So you didn't... Oh, he's really afraid if Trump gets mad.
Yeah.
Really afraid.
He's just pissed off that the managers knew about it.
That's the sword of truth. Again, Democrats working together puts Trump believers on the defensive. Oh, the calling thing was 2 calls. Wait, one of the calls was a 3.
So one of the calls came in. It was on Lee's phone. Lee, he goes, "I'm talking to so and so." He hands it over. The other one was a recording of Rudy Giuliani. He can't dispute that. That's a recording.
Kevin's asking, didn't you see a conviction on Sniffy? That's what I've been getting, but we'll see. We'll see.
Are they? And then they tried to confuse Leahy. Leahy's like got hit from blindsided. Like, hey, wait a minute. Let's see what we can figure out what to do.
Mm-hmm. He's just mad that he was caught up in this.
Trubeville. So there was a recorded message he was trying to call Trubeville. Okay.
Oh, this was not good for his side. These arguments. He's upset. Yeah, he's
impeachment trial of the former
he's very upset.
Yeah.
Now, as you can see, what we understand to happen is that
Very.
the House impeachment managers were ready to
adjourn
for the evening. They were done making their legal cases for the day. We saw Senator
Okay, this was today. Them arguing. Them saying.
What is she saying?
And a phone call made by President Trump be struck from the record. You then saw the presiding officer, Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont, unclear as to what his ruling was. You heard senators ask for him to enunciate that ruling again. Then he had technical problems. It is unclear right now what exactly they are voting on or if a vote is taking place at this moment. You can see the huddling on the Senate floor. We'll continue to watch.
Call underway.
So every time the Trump lawyers say a lie, can every one of us stand up and strike it?
Mr. President, we need order.
Senate will be in order.
Okay.
Consent to officiate the appeal request that I made.
Without,
the request.
Wait, before he withdraw.
I withdraw the request for the yeas and nays.
Without objection.
Okay, and I withdraw the quorum call and call on the manager, Mr. Raskin, for a brief statement.
The impeachment manager, Mr. Cicilline, correctly and accurately quoted a newspaper account, which the distinguished senator has taken objection to. So we're happy to withdraw it. on the grounds that it is not true, and we are going to
repeated it too.
Okay, we're going to withdraw it this evening and without any prejudice to the ability to resubmit it if possible, and then we can debate it if we need it. But this is much ado about nothing because it's not critical in any way to our case.
You're not the one being cited as a witness, sir.
All right. So the manager's issue stands. Mr. Lee has withdrawn his request, and we may relitigate it tomorrow if we have to. I now ask unanimous consent. The trial adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow, Thursday, February 11th, and this also constitute the adjournment of the Senate.
The objection, without objection, so ordered. Senate stands adjourned.
Let me see if I can pull up would it let me? MSNOBNBC. Sorry.
You're so clever. I don't know how to do any of this. You're going to have to teach me.
Some sort of minor kind of, distraction at the end, I think shows that they understand how powerful this was. For anyone who watched it, it's hard to walk away with the idea that the thing that Trump was calling for, stop the steal, that is the case. What do you do to stop what he thinks is the theft of an election he claims he won? They wanted to stop the vote count. They wanted to stop the certification. They wanted to use brute force and maybe even murder, take over the Capitol and violently stop the certification of an election Donald Trump lost because he told this big lie. And the last thing I will say, to throw it back to you, Nicole, there were a lot of people sitting in that room who told it with him. And if I were the families of Josh Hawley, who unfortunately replaced Claire McCaskill in the United States Senate, and Ted Cruz, I'd be ashamed because they were a part of it. Josh Hawley was giving the high fist to those murderers, those cop killers. Ted Cruz, they're in the gallery saying, oh, Ted Cruz is with us. They're accessories to the murders, to the mayhem, to the hunting of the vice president of the United States. And by the way, where is the vice president of the United States? You've been asking that, Nicole. He was literally hunted like an animal. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this in terms of Senate testimony, ever.
Well, you're not throwing it back to me just yet. I've got more for you. I mean, I think that what's so remarkable is for something that happened that you and I covered in real time on live TV together, something that felt like it happened in full view. They harnessed so much new evidence. And I, like you, am horrified by the video evidence of just how close Nancy Pelosi and her staff and Mitt Romney and Mike Pence and how much danger and abuse, physical and just the terrorism of the attack the Capitol Police were subjected to. And I don't wonder anything about Republicans anymore, but I find it remarkable that they will be on the record as being indifferent to cop killers. They will be on the record as being indifferent to an assassination attempt against the Speaker of the House and Vice President Mike Pence.
Yep.
No, you're absolutely right. There was the part where Representative Plaskett reads this post that a lawyer that was one of the insurrectionists reads. We're like, we're going after crazy Nancy, and says that they would have ripped her to pieces if they got her. This was a lynch mob. And I don't know how any of them can sleep at night or face their families or their children and explain after what has basically been a truth, not the reconciliation part, but a truth commission. I doubt that Donald Trump will be convicted. They're going to find some way to tuck their shame away and pretend that this is okay. But we now know. We know. We have seen it viscerally. We have heard the police calling on the radio, begging for help. My godbrother is a retired police officer. I mean, I can only imagine how terrified these officers were. They were completely outnumbered by a mob with no help. And Donald Trump had the power to send them the most powerful help that he could, the National Guard, the people who saved civil rights leaders back in the 1960s. He could have sent that force that we saw in the Capitol, just festooned around the Capitol. He could have sent that. That might have straightened those people out. That might have gathered them together if they'd seen that kind of force. But they didn't. They just had these Capitol Police officers and Metro Police who finally come. And you hear these officers say, get here now. We are overrun. to see this happen in real time with the schematic of the Capitol, which you know better than I, Claire, and yourself, Nicole. Most people don't know what the Capitol really looks like, and having been in it recently to interview the speaker, I felt that in my gut, because now you can physically see how close the little red dots were all of the invaders, and the little blue dots were the people in peril. My heart was pounding watching.
Their life was
So harrowing. The other thing that I don't know that we've ever seen play out before us in a video exhibit was the impact of Trump's tweets in further inciting violence toward Mike Pence. I mean, that video of the Trump supporters saying, we got it. We got word from our leader. Here's what he says. And he rails on Pence. He puts Pence in more danger after the incitement and the insurrection was well underway.
Yeah,
put
the
more
timeline,
pressure on.
the fact that it's happening, the insurgency, our Capitol has been breached, and he knows this is happening. He's gleeful inside the White House watching it, and then he incites more violence against his own vice president, a man, by the way, who took the gig to try to get Trump right with the evangelical base. How do any evangelicals look themselves in the mirror, knowing that that's the guy who Donald Trump essentially said, if you won't break the law and violate your oath and help me stay in office, stop the steal, meaning just betray your oath and only serve me.
Okay,
That's
I think I
idolatry.
might.
Serve me like I am your God.
Yeah,
And if
I'm
you
still
won't
not
do
on.
that,
I'm still
to
not
hell
on a
with you. Go get him
Pence
too.
rally
He
here.
basically sent his paramilitaries after his own
still
VP.
has a lot to say for himself.
Yes. Do you mind if I'm actually gonna get rid of the news now, if that's okay?
Yes,
because I think we need to.
Yeah, we're probably. I know I won't be able. Yeah, I won't be able to stay on for much longer. I have a
No, I
little
understand.
boy. My grandson
Aw.
just turned 7 today, so he's
Oh,
home.
happy
Yeah.
birthday!
He's the sweetest. I love him. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
but he
thank-
just got home from lunch and all that. But thank you, Autumn, for offering me to come on and watch that with you. That was incredible. And the energy, and I love being able to have that open forum for the live chat for everybody to say out loud what they're thinking.
Right.
Have, a place to just vent and get that out. It's unbelievable. So
Yeah.
did you have anything we can read on a couple of times? And
That's what they were talking about today. They did such a good job.
They did.
Such a good job, and it really put the Trump supporters in the Senate back on their heels. And tomorrow they start on the defensive.
Let's read and see what they can do. How is it going to really look with the defense? What do you think? How are the Trump supporters? The Trump lawyers. What are they? What kind of power? What are they going to bring?
Yeah. Well, actually, do you mind if first we actually? I think we should just start at the end, because I think the big question is: are they going to convict? Are the Republicans going to? Are at least 17 Republicans going to convict Trump?
I've been having this remote feeling, and whether it's just me wishful thinking, because I do that sometimes. It's just how I am. But I keep on having this vision of some of them just not showing up, and then it gives them that ratio that they need. I don't know.
I've been getting a lot of that too.
Okay, so I don't know. Like I said, sometimes Sheila gets in the way, and I just want it to be like the way I wanted to see it. But I keep on getting that feeling over and reoccurring. And like, is there something to that?
Yes. It's Steve's birthday too. Happy birthday,
Happy
Steve!
birthday! Yeah, my grandson was born at all of my son was born at 9:20. My daughter was born at 3:20, and Ethan was born at 7:20 in the morning.
The same day?
No, just the time. They were
Oh,
all
okay.
20 after the hour. Every single one of them.
Neat.
I think it's weird. Okay, so let's get into the conversation. You wanted about the Republicans, if he's going to be convicted. Let's go ahead and.
Yeah, like Mimi Rose is saying that so many readers are saying Trump will be convicted, and I think it might
I thought
be.
that he was on a few of mine too, but I also told him this energy is shifting, like shady shifting.
Are enough Republicans going to are Democrats going to get the votes they need to convict Trump? Is Trump, are they going to convict Trump in the Senate? Are they going to convict Trump in the Senate? Was that you?
I'm still in it. I'm trying to making sure. I was going to do something else. Now I changed my mind to do the Celtic cross. So. I literally got judgment as the base of the whole situation. Judging the past actions. Spiritual awakening. What did you get?
Weirdness.
Yes.
I got human level decisions. This is like I consider this to be like lowercase justice, the lowercase justice card. But right behind it is judgment. Like back here, this is the big in the background. This is the big thing back here. For the main thing, I got the like Hawley and the other Republicans thought they were going into this. It was a done deal. They've ended up being knocked back on their heels, and even though the fruits of their labor, they end up being hemmed in and voluntarily. This is my card for holding still. Voluntarily holding still. Thank you, Kath. Let me see if I can get any more information. Because voluntarily holding still would be like, oh, I didn't make the vote in time. I missed my bus.
Yeah, most of my cards are major arcana. Let me put that out there first, because I got judgment, and then the 10 of Pentacles inverted on top of judgment, which is a financial failure. It's like they are going to realize immediately how much people are going to draw away their money from them. Maybe that gives them a little bit, but I got Empress at the bottom of that, and then I got the Emperor on top of that. So these are both like the abundance, the reaping the rewards, and the Emperor is that self-discipline. So the 9 of Wands defending their territory, coming into it, the 3 of Pentacles going out, is the ability to deliver. And then we have the King of Pentacles, the High Priestess. I got the Fool. You know what I mean? There's just so much energy coming out, but the end of the whole thing is the 3 of Cups and community. Meaning that wherever it ends up, it seems like the country is going to be pretty happy with the results. Does that say that he gets convicted? I don't know.
Yeah, I've got, they're there. They're in the institution. This is the institution, their job to do the thing. The managers have right on their side. And boy, are they making a good case.
Oh, yeah.
The Republicans, I think you had a point there when it comes to the donors. If this scares off the donors, forget it. But would they know that quickly enough?
Well, that is my question. I don't know enough about donations into their. Do they have a daily tally? Do they? Is it something that they track? You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm sure they track it. That.
So they would know the dip. They would know the significant dip.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Marby. Thank you.
Yeah.
The other thing I've been getting is. Did you say yeah?
On what?
Just a second ago? I keep hearing, I keep thinking I hear somebody every once in a while, and I'm like,
it wasn't me.
Okay, all right, no worries. I keep actually getting that what they're doing now has implications for actual legal cases in the courts.
Oh.
And there are people who are going to end up that might be one of the reasons that Lee, what's his name, was freaking out. He doesn't want Trump mad at him, but he doesn't want to get sucked into
any court cases.
Court cases as well. The Democrats they've laid it out. Here it is, step by step. The Republicans, they don't have a leg to stand on. So it's a matter of, what do you love? Do you love the country? Do you love your life? Do you love your family? Or
That's
are
like
you
2 of swords too that you had. Make your hard choices.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But the energy, this feels like a really historic moment, and the energy I'm feeling in third eye, like out here, it's like doing this on my head. It doesn't usually do that unless it's like a big historic moment kind of thing. So the Republicans,
What was the question that you asked?
I was just asking. I was like, well, the Republicans, what are they kind of going to do? What are they thinking about? Whoa!
Okay,
I
let
just
me see. What
sorry.
are they thinking about? What are they going through right now?
That isn't actually what I was. I was just kind of thinking Republicans, and then I got this, and it was like,
okay.
Okay. Or I would have said something sooner.
All right. What is it?
Oh, all right.
I'm
So
excited. You got me excited. Go.
they had a plan. We had a plan. We had a perfectly good plan. And then Trump was stupid, and he had to dump the real lawyers, and he had to get isn't one of them a personal injury lawyer or something? And it was awful. But we had a plan. We had a plan. But now, because of this and all this stuff going on, you basically have the insult to injury. You've got a death card. You have this mob, the deaths, all linked to Trump the man. This is what they're talking about tonight. We had a plan. The plan's gone. Now, all of this is tied to Trump in the public.
Yep.
I think right now there are some behind closed doors. I think McConnell's hearing an earful.
Yeah, they understand that they laid it out so well that they can't pull it back in now. And
what have you got?
Sorry. I got the Ace of Cups, and it was inverted, which is blocked, repression, anger, rage, resentment, guilt. This is what they're going home with tonight. That inverted Ace of Wands, and the Hierophant shows up inverted as well, which is challenging the status quo, alternative. So and that's the guilt. That's what they're going home with it right now. They are raging in. How can I put it? It's like what you said. They had a plan. Their plan is now obliterated. How are they going to come up and out of this? It's almost like, that guy, I want what I said stricken from the thing, and the guy got up there and says, we'll strick it. Mm-hmm. Your portion of it really wasn't that important in the first place, idiot. You're like, whatever you want us, okay, fine, and it's out there. There's nothing, you can't pull that back. Mm-hmm. You cannot pull that back. I also got the Ace of Pentacles, which is that lack of security. They are feeling out of control right now.
Good point. Good point.
They don't have anything. What can they? I just really want to know what can they bring back? What kind of strength? What?
Okay, the rebuttal.
Yeah, what is the rebuttal? What can they say? Like he said, if all of a sudden that dude is complaining about them saying something that's not true, is at the end of everything that the lawyers say, if they say something that's a lie, that we can just get it all stricken out? That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Good point. See, this is why I'm so glad you're here. I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of any of those.
We work well together, Autumn.
Yes, we do. Sword of Truth. I'll just leave that out there. What are you getting?
Sword
I am
of
getting
Truth. Ooh. So
good luck.
yeah, what
This is what they're fighting against. This is just the card for the reading.
Okay,
But please go ahead. Please go
What's
ahead.
the rebuttal? I'm still kind of in there shuffling a little.
Okay.
Like I said, my dream is that the lawyers get up there and say, I'm done. I'm out. Ironically, I just got the Hermit. Like, is this something that's real gonna happen? I don't know. Let the pain, the loss, the grief, the rebuttal. I'm not. The regret. Moving forward.
Thank you,
That's going to
Thelma.
be the rebuttal. Let's just move forward. Let's just move forward. No, let's just move forward. This is not helping anybody to go rehash everything and going over that. That is the only thing they have left. Let's move forward. That's going to be the rebuttal.
Yeah. They going up against the Sword of Truth. Right now, the country is heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
Heartbroken. And this was devastating.
Correct.
It goes like this. This was devastating. But they're going to try to go, all right, well, we're still going to stick to our plan because they don't have anything else.
Nothing.
Which is heartbreaking. Unfortunately, this is not disappointment. Unfortunately, my cards split out. So
I also got that too.
Yeah, but all of my cups are Democrats. All of my pentacles became Republican, and all of my wands became Trump stuff. It's very frustrating, but it's just what happened. This is America and Democrats being disappointed that there are still Republicans willing to go to the bat to try to help Trump, no matter how much damage it does, just so they look good or try to look good. And they think that there are some of them who are just convinced everything will go back to normal, but you can't argue against that. You cannot come up against this argument no. Mm-mm. So there are still some who are going to say, no, we shouldn't be making that decision since he's out of office. It should go to criminal. It should all be criminal court stuff.
Well, I hope they do have a lot of this to draw out of it, that they can place some criminal charges against him.
That would be nice. Thank you. Okay, thanks.
I mean, isn't it out in the real world? If you incited somebody, you sent a group of people to to do a robbery, and somebody dies, that means you are also charged with murder.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's our laws.
Yes, indeed.
And that's exactly what happened. 5 of them.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, I get so passionate.
You should, and I feel bad if I've done anything to interrupt you.
No, not at all.
Because you're awesome. And
okay, well, do we have a question that we're going for?
I know.
What? Is
just between us. Just between us.
Just between us? Okay.
Just between us. Okay, everybody? What's Trump going through right now?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Just for fun.
Just between us, yeah.
Just between us.
Just between us. It's a secret.
You're okay, sweetheart. Sorry, I just put some cards down and Boo Boo just stick up his head like, what was that? It's like I read on Trump and he's just suddenly like, oh, yuck.
I felt that. Yeah. I'm feeling that. Ooh, let's see what's going on with the Trumpster. Ooh, go for it. Oh my gosh.
No, you go for it. Please go first. Please go first.
So what I have here is looking for assistance, but I got heartbreak right over the top of it. I mean, he's just heartbroken.
First card.
Yep, heartbroken. But it's not like heartbroken like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what happened. It is literally the uneasy truths, the dwelling in the past hurts, the blocked grief. He's like, he can't believe that they did so good. They, and then I have the world. The world knows now your dirty deeds. The world knows your dirty deeds. And he cannot, he has that, and that structure that he's out of his comfort. He cannot be comfortable with this anymore. And going forward, he has that being paid your worth, that Four of Swords, that rest. Oh, what does the rest mean? The King of Swords. Always the King of Swords is my card. Inverted King of Swords is that critical. And then we have the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Wands. That is a judge and a lawyer, a prosecutor. That's a judge and a prosecutor on his butt. He now knows how much trouble he's going to be in. There's no doubt. That's Queen of Cups has always been my Letitia, and that King of Wands has always been my judge for him. What do you get?
Well, the card for the reading, he thought he could just, with this whole thing, he could just set it up however he wanted, and he could incite riot, and he'd get away with it because he gets away with everything. The card for the reading, I got this, it starts out the same way with yours, that he's heartbroken that the Republicans are betraying him by even letting this take place.
Oh, yeah.
This should not even be happening.
How could those people, 6 of those Republicans, even vote for this to keep on going?
Yes. And why haven't the rest of them stood up and walked out? Why haven't they protected me? And because of this, I am done with the Republican Party. I will take them all down.
Oh.
Because his widow feelings are hurt.
He's got feelers that are being
His will
touched.
feelings. Thank you, Nancy. His will feelings are hurt.
Oh.
That's
what that rest was. Like I'm away from you. I'm a rest away from the Republican. That's what that time out was. Time out.
Oh, the fact that they and I'm getting very strongly, it isn't even just, it's not looking good. How dare they, why haven't they stood up? Pence, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, see, that's the thing they keep saying. Pence is like, I don't have the power to stop the electoral. Trump doesn't care. It doesn't matter if you've got the power. As far as he's concerned, you do it anyway.
Yeah, he was hoping for this big ordeal where Pence says, I'm not doing it. It's almost like he thinks that if Pence never showed up, it never would have happened. And they're like, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Pelosi, if somebody else would have, are you okay? Did I lose you?
No, I can still hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're right. He is absolutely enthralled with revenge right now.
Ooh, well, oh my gosh, this just gets better and better. Anyway, I'll get that in a second. But he expected Pence to say, this is not going to work. Rip up the pieces of paper or whatever, say this is not going forward, and then it'll go to the courts.
Yeah,
and now that this is even happening, Trump is, why have the Republicans, they could walk out, they could continue they could stop the steal now. Yeah, they could stand up and invite the crazies in and they could take over the Senate right now. That's narcissism, isn't it lovely?
For him, he's still burdened with the responsibility of all of his hard work went down the tubes, and yeah, he's very upset about that. all this hard work, everything that I gave them, everything that I did for them. I was the best thing that they ever happened. Why aren't they fighting? Why that petty victory? I also got that the moon. Oh, you got the star, but I got the moon. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but he's the star. He's the greatest. He's the most wonderful. He's the best thing that ever happened to them. However, the big thing I'm getting here, first two cards. What happened today? He can kiss his money goodbye. His businesses, good night.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely. I also got the poverty. I was confused for a minute there until you got yours, but I got the poverty.
This is gonna. His name, yeah, devastated financially, and his believers end up on, and then it just suddenly becomes. It goes from being this major arcana thing, and then it just becomes this minor arcana thing, as his supporters end up on the defensive. Republicans say, you know what, we are where we are. Once we're through this, we'll just do our thing. And then we get, Pelosi, and this goes on with Republicans and Democrats moving forward. Meanwhile, Trump is, not only is he out of office, but his businesses are decimated. Yeah.
I've also been getting the feeling too, after this is all over with, it's almost like the Democrats and all of Biden's people, everybody, they go, I will never mention him again, type of thing. Like, this is it. This is the last hurrah. This is his last, showing in our thing. We're just going to move on with our stuff. We have the presidency, we have the House, we have the Senate. We're just going to get all of our agendas going and go on. I have a feeling too that in 2022, all of those senators who are going to say nay are also going to have lots and lots of trouble getting their jobs back.
Let's ask.
Yep.
In 2022.
2022, are we going to still keep a hold of the Senate and gain? I don't know. Is that two questions?
No. What? No, let's just ask. We'll start with which is one, because it might be yes for both. Will the Democrats retain control of both the House and the Senate? Or maybe even gain some, like you said. And it says something that Trump should be worried about legal things, but he's not. It's the money.
Well, he's all of his life. The reason why he loves lawyers is because they've been getting him out of everything. He is in love with lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you get? I'm looking at the campaigns of the Democrats. Defend your territory, and then they talk about the betrayal and loss. That's their campaign towards the Republicans. And then the financial control and stability. I mean, they are literally. And then underneath the defending your territory, the Democrats have strength. And then we have defend your boundaries against that, and we have the King of Pentacles coming in, the discipline of it, and then the love of the Senate. What did you get? Mine's very confusing.
What I'm getting is that the we're only essential ballpark. We're getting closer, I should say, to. That's only like a year and a half away.
Yep.
It's not that long.
No, and I've already started on trying to keeping a good temperature on them too.
Good. What I'm getting is you've got Trump elsewhere. This is my Trump at his base wherever. That's the card for the reading. Okay. But it's there in the background, but I've got Democrats with their good stuff. I've got Republicans with whatever they've got going. But messages coming out of the legal stuff, the legal cases. This is over the next year and a half.
Yeah.
The stuff coming out of all of the legal cases, because I was asking about that, like, well, I was hoping to see like cups or pentacles for the outcome. No, this is legal. And I looked more closely. It's all the stuff coming against Trump that's going to be coming out, and it's going to make people really angry. And so that ends up having an effect on the 2022 election, because it's just going to be this slow burn for the next however many years of this court case and that court case and the other court case and the court case after that. And some of them are going to be televised.
Yep. And I did ask, I said, Drew, one more question. It says, will the Senate gain Democrats? And I got abundance. The abundance.
Because I got that ultimately the Republicans are weakened by this.
Yes.
So
good. We just got to keep on them.
Yeah.
Do our due diligence and be vigilant in every state. If you are in a state that your Republican is being replaced, or your senator or whatever, get on there on the Democratic campaign. Help out. Talk about it. Let us readers know. That's why let us readers know what's going on. Give us details so that we can keep a good temperature on them.
Yes.
So I do have to go.
Okay, I understand.
I hear them.
Okay.
So they're up and ready.
But thank you for being
the
here.
natives are getting restless.
There you go.
So thank you, Autumn, very, very much. So I'm going to dip out.
Okay.
And see you later, guys. Thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Yep.
That was so much. It's so much nicer that I was able to be here with Sheila and with you guys. Thank you for being here. Oh, thank you guys. Whew. But boy, I've got to tell you, it is making me feel better reading on, the energy coming off the Republicans right now, in the Republican senators. Oh, they are upset. They are very, very upset. And I'm even getting a certain, at the moment at least, it might change, but even right now, I am getting a certain amount of, I don't even care what my constituents say. This was my life that was on the line. This is how close this was. He did sit and do nothing. And all the Benghazi stuff they went on and on about, and all of this. And usually they're hypocrites, Anything that a Democrat does is bad. Anything a Republican does, it's okay. But this feels different for a lot of them. But boy, are they upset right now. And Trump is beside himself. So I got that Trump is so angry right now with the Republicans. All right. Are you going to fully turn on them? Are you going to give out secrets and bring some of them down? Oh, Kristen, Officer Goodman, he's great. He is a hero. He's a national hero. Seriously, yeah. Trump. I just completely forgot what I was reading on. I'm like floating above my own body right now. What was I just reading on? Something about Trump. Yeah, just went completely blank. Goodman is on my lock screen right now, says Accentua. That is cool. He is a hero. Oh, he's going to turn on the GOP. Thank you. Okay, the man. Yes, he's Mr. Petty's here. Mr. Super Petty's in the house. Oh, yes. Thank you, Keisha. If you haven't already, check out Celtic. Oh, it jumped. Celtic Tarot, Sheila. Thank you for bringing that link. All right, is Trump going to turn on the GOP? Whew, they brought the evidence to light, didn't they, today? Oh, it was infuriating, but as far as telling the truth, that was a thing of beauty. Alexis, Autumn, Trump is planning a revenge tour, having rallies in 10 states for his followers, where he trashes the Republicans that voted against him. Really? Oh, they're just going minding their own business, but they're going to get a whole lot of heartache. That could be Trump himself, but it feels like heartache. Because Trump feels like he's being hit, and you know how he always says, if you get hit, you have to punch back twice as hard. And that thing today should never have happened. The Republicans should have stopped it. How? They don't have the power? No. He doesn't think that way. You take power. And they want to take you to court, you'll be in court for months or years. And by that point, you can make something work. It's really how he thinks. So is this Trump bringing out divulging things? Blackmail material against Republicans? Is he going to spill their secrets? Let me see. Is Trump going to spill Republican secrets because he's mad? Oh, he's so angry right now. Today is a big day. It's a big day in history. I'm like floating. It's very strange. That doesn't usually happen. And it's not just all the sugar I've had, although I've had quite a bit. All right. Nine of Cups. That could mean a couple of different things. So let me see what I've got here. You're right, Jay. Since he knows he's going down, will he take everyone down with him? How dare they? Democrats have power, but an ending, a judgment. This is election day. Things that may affect their election days. Let me see if I can get some more information. Will Trump publicly spill negative information about Republicans to get back at them? Court stuff. Why court stuff? Court? And I was thinking, okay, fine. Maybe it's Trump gets sidelined because court comes against him and he has to start doing the legal stuff. But then I get this institution, and this was this way around. Could this be legal stuff? Sorry, legal stuff against Republican senators, House members, senators specifically. Does he bring stuff out against them, or do bad things come out against them as the legal and special committees, as all those investigations happen? do bad things come out about other Republicans, or does Trump release stuff? Trump, when he was emperor, learned a lot, saw a lot. He's got a lot of time on his hands now, and he's mad, and he has no conscience. Tra-la, tra-la. And he aims to create as much chaos as possible. Oh, these people, they are not kissing the ring. How dare they? Susan, okay, will there be any surprise witnesses? Let's have a look. Will there be any surprise witnesses? They may have already, it may be stuff that it's already, that would be stuff that's already, like, we're being transparent. Plus, if they have to have had agreed on some things, his lawyers they're not going to give up. They are going to step forward and make whatever arguments they have. And there are some Republicans who are just going to refuse what the Democrats have to say, no matter what. Jack, I know Autumn is glowing. She's just, you can see her higher self all over the place. It's so beautiful to see. Oh, cool. That's what it feels like. Can they make the vote anonymous? I don't believe so, but let me check. Oh, Robert, will the orange doofus go to jail with his friends? How I wish. Oh, how I wish. Stacy Plaskett, I'll read on her in just a minute. But first I need to do, can the vote be anonymous? Secret ballot. Oh, he's got trouble. Oh, right there in River City. Oh, he's got trouble. Oh, they're mad. I think if they had to hold the vote right now, I don't know I think that might be the end of that. No, these are all very straightforward, even keel. It's not going to be secret. Then there was a question about let's look at Stacy Plaskett, and then we can look more at Trump. Okay, Stacy Plaskett, she was amazing. I was honestly, I hate to even have to say this, I was actually wondering if maybe some of what she was saying was going to fall on deaf ears because she's a woman of color from a territory. And how many of those really heinous Republicans would just instantly dismiss what she has to say? But boy, was she, as she went on, it was strong thing after strong thing. And it was like, yeah, you try to ignore that. But all right, Stacy. Yeah, I'm having a terrible time focusing because I feel like I'm floating. I will say every time Swalwell stood up, there's a little part of me that was like, oh, future Mr. President. That's what I get. But Stacy, what's going to happen with Stacy? Higher wisdom, strong woman, higher wisdom, and she can go. She knows how to work it. This is in the sense of the high priestess can be secrets as well, or higher wisdom. She has the higher wisdom to know when she can keep secrets or keep things quiet enough to work her way around to make it work. Smart as a whip. she got up there. Oh, she was a magician up there. It was amazing. What the Republicans did, she came for them. Begrudging respect. Of course, the Trumpsters, they're going to go after her, of course. She's a smart woman who isn't lily white and bottle blonde. See, she was pure prosecutor magic. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I like that. Sherry's saying she even wore her superhero cape. Yes. Some heroes do wear capes, Aronson is saying. Yes. Denise Delamont, sorry. Are evangelical Trump voters reacting to the Democrats' case? A lot of heavy-duty Republicans, they're not watching this. Evangelicals. They were already getting a little it's a very, I mean, I don't like, actually I don't need this anymore. I don't like saying anything negative about other people's beliefs, other than Scientology, because he was an author and I'm an author and I'm a spiritual person too, and I have I have opinions about L. Ron, but I don't like, but evangelical beliefs are very narrow. You believe this, you believe the Bible, you believe every word of it, it's literal, it's you act this way, you do these things, you believe what we tell you this and this and this. It's there's very little deviation. And so that's how they raised their kids. And it's kind of hard when your kids are teenagers, it's hard to say, we do this, and this, and then have the human embodiment of all 7 deadly sins. And then now this on top of it. That's harsh because it's kids coming to them going, that's where they start getting like, maybe it's not worth it. It's not what it was. Let me tell you. Of course, there'll always be some people who've, but there are quite a few, or they're like, there's other stuff I could be doing. It's weakened. It's not gone. It's weaker. But a lot of them are still going to choose to fight for the Trumpster fire. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, Connie, I think you just said something about Stevie Nicks. Of course, like I said, my spirit is all out here, and my brain was just like, ooh, favorite Stevie Nicks song. I can hear it. I can see the video, but I can't remember the name of it. Oh, well, doesn't matter. I wonder if she's walking on the treadmill. Anyway. Kristen saying, breaking news, U.S. Capitol Police to hold a vote of no confidence. In whom? Mims, could you read on L. Ron Hubbard someday? I would love to see what crapola he has to say. Yeah. Stand back. That's it. Thank you. That's it. It's my favorite Stevie Nicks song. All right. So basically, I'm just curious. I know you've oh, that's interesting. Stacy, Biden now has access to Trump-Putin phone conversations. Will he find evidence of treason? I don't think I'm going to be able to timestamp this. Biden, access to Trump's phone calls with Putin. Will he turn it over to the DOJ? Find evidence of treason. Is the theft the bad stuff Trump did, or is the theft them destroying records? Mims, don't sweat the small stuff, Autumn. Oh, well. I do like to make it as easy for people, but boy, this is just, it's been quite a day. I think I might just have to start again tomorrow. I hope I don't have to. I may have to actually put it off again until 7, which I was going to do today, but then I knew people were so upset. So, but we'll see. Hopefully I'll just be here at noon and we'll do the thing, but we'll have to see what's going on. Oh, okay. Business stuff, Trump doing business stuff, corruption there. I wonder if it's going to be more, it's going to come out more. I think like special committees, special commissions, special committees, something like that. This feels like Pelosi. Work done. Trump making money, business, corrupt, making money through government and the people who protected him. Biden is not going to have the best things to say about Barr. Oh, Shirley, Hawley is being investigated for using his campaign money at Universal, fed his family with it. Oh, of course he did. Entertainment only. Connie's saying I love the 7 p.m. time. Sherry, it's perfect time for me. Gives me time to get home from work and eat. Debbie, Otto, when you read at night, there's always orbs around you. Can you just take a breath so we can see and feel your energy? Oh, me? I'm here. Although it might not be orbs. It might just be, I don't know, cat hair? Something. I don't know. Yeah, entertainment only. Oh, kidding. Stacy's saying, I got that Biden is going to pass it on to authorities as well. The rest of my cards were Biden worried about taking care of people. Yep. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sherry. Yes, it's my American flag. We need to reclaim our symbols from those heinous rioters and cruel Trump supporters. This is an American flag. And then it's like pinned back over here. It's like a star or something holding this bit back. So it's a flag. Anyway. Pico, first timer. Hey. Kristen saying the swarming of the Biden campaign bus in Texas could be a factor in Trump's impeachment trial. Oh, they did cover it today. Thank you, Sylvia. That's very kind. Aaronson's having pizza for dinner. Yeah, diet? What diet? Yeah, I've been stuffing my face just all day. But let me see what else. What else? What are my guides saying I should read on? Oh, I want to know. Hang on, just 3 cards. Swalwell. Is Swalwell going to be President Swalwell? Because I used to get that all the time. Is Swalwell going to be president one day? It's going to take time. It's gonna take time. He might even try again and it won't work. But eventually, he's a big deal. Swalwell, you haven't seen the last of Swalwell. He's gonna be a big deal. I'm not getting the Emperor card, but I am getting. This is the card I get for Biden now. So could be leader of the Republican or leader of the Republicans, leader of the Democrats, or what have you. Meh. Michelle, I've eaten far more sugar than I need today. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Connie's having chicken fajitas. And if Polly wanted to swallow for vice president first, that could be it. That could be it. All right. Well, what do you lovely people What do all of these lovely people need to know? What do all of these lovely people need to know? You're not alone. You're not alone. All the times we've seen the card with all the legal swords going into Trump's back. He was president, but now he doesn't even have Twitter. So while he does have sway in the party with Republicans, over time, he ends up isolated. This is also my card for forensic accountants, but the Emperor, over time, ends up isolated. He's going down, 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 down. So anyway, all right. Well, yeah, I think that's going to do it. That's going to do it for tonight, for today. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, is Trump going to go to jail? That was the other one. I've never picked up him going to jail, not once, but is Donald Trump Sr. going to go to jail? Arrested, jumpsuit, or whatever little outfit they give them. But I was the president, yeah. As Randy Rainbow was saying, Q is a patriot, yes, and you is an idiot. Nah, I'm not. That's not him in jail. That's us being. Thank you, Aronson. That's us being disappointed. He loses all of his support. There's certainly plenty of evidence against him, and we're okay because the U.S. was under new management. Thank you, but no, I never get him going to jail. Anyway, I hope you guys are going to be okay. I will be back tomorrow. I know they have. Are they going to keep going through tomorrow? I wonder if we should just agree to 7 o'clock tomorrow now. What do you think? I'll put up another poll maybe. So anyway, all right. But have a great night. Hang in there. Try to get some rest. And yes. All right. Well, I will probably be doing this doing a live stream tomorrow. Oh, Steve is saying, speaking of crossovers, Cash is starting a crossover channel with transition pics. Oh, interesting. I saw that he posted, but I haven't had a chance to see it yet. He's very cool. Work for me, work for you. Yes, yes. Okay. Well, then unless there's something big that happens, I will, Kevin, whatever melts your butter. Your butter. Whatever melts your butter. All right. We'll plan on 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. All right. Hang in there. Kevin, oh, I forgot. No butter. Well, I've got Earth Balance whipped. Margarine cooks beautifully. Perfect. But anyway, hang in there, guys. Whew. We'll get through this. Take care. You're not alone. And I'll see you tomorrow.